Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Interesting call for unity coming from Pakistan. Pakistan is the only Muslim country on this planet having nuclear weapons. So Pakistan calls for a unification of the Muslim world against Israel. Well, not so fast. It's not Israel things beyond Israel, and it's not Pakistan and the Muslim world. It's a complicated issue. We're going to discuss why complicated, if it's possible, and if they do, what will the West, at Israel's behest, do about it. That's the first topic. The first topic. The second topic. Iran considers whatever happens, the conflict with Israel, a declaration of war. In the West, if you read the media operatives, they are using the term conflict, Iran-Israel conflict. There's no more wars, it's conflicts, little scuffles here, and that's what they hope. Iran looks at it differently. It says Israeli attack is the declaration of war. Well, that means these guys are ready to go all the way. The other guys just wanted a little bit of foreplay. They get the full hardcore now from Iran. Unfortunately, for all of us, now Iran is preparing to shut down Israel's war machine. So how will they do it? They will tell us exactly how. So Iran is ready for a long, decisive war now. As in the case of Russia, you can't beat Russia. It has nuclear weapons. In this case, Israel, you can't beat Israel. They allow them to have nuclear weapons. They allow them. And nobody wants to strip them, not strip them, but strip them of the nuclear weapons if they have them. There's no interest. There's no interest and desire to even look into it. Did they scare us so badly with JFK's assassination? Now, people who know exactly what I'm talking about could answer that. Did they scare us so much that nobody will dare? All right, that's another topic. And we find out that Iran claims they forced Israeli air defenses to attack each other with new methods. Let's see what the new methods are and if that's possible. And I will give you this piece of information before we get to this article coming from Sputnik. That's been something that has been happening, and it is as a protocol in the military to create, these kind of situations where people, a friendly fire, shoot at one another. One example was in the so-called Romanian Revolution in 1989, when these guys worked in having us fight against one another, and they did. If you remember the attack at Otopeni, Băneasa, the Trotska, what's his name? Trotska, was it? Trotska incident. I will explain if I have time. When General Militaru, who was a GRU guy, known as GRU, he paid back certain things, and he made Romanian air defenses shooting Romanian helicopters with information, and the helicopter shooting at the Romanian air defenses. It was crazy. Anyway, I know that for a fact, and I have a relative who was actually involved in being shot at while he was piloting a military helicopter in Otopeni and Băneasa. So let's go back here. Right, Pakistan calls for Muslim states to unite against Israel. Now, this is from June 16th. First question. You don't need to unite with anybody, Pakistan. You do not need to unite with anybody. You can go by yourself. You definitely can go by yourself. I'm going to tell you why. Your population is about what? 240 million or 205 million or something. Over, let's put it nicely, because I'm not certain. It's 204 or 250. I think it's 200 something like that, because it's Brazil and Pakistan, the same kind of. So let's over 200 million people with at least 200 nuclear warheads, at least. So let's say and I'm going to show you the map where they're located. Why do you need the Muslim states? Go ahead, homie. You're the strongest of them all. Who's the fairest of them all? Not Pakistan, but anyway, who's the fairest of them all? Iran, right? The Aryans. So what's going on here, my friends? That's the first one. Let's read the article. Defense Minister has urged Pakistan has urged the countries to cut ties with the Jewish states over strikes in Iran. That's the unification? That's the unification. Cut ties. Okay, so let's say we use the same logic. We have a rapist, and it's a rape in progress, unfortunately. And you have a victim, and you have a perpetrator. And everybody else in the community says, you know what, unite everybody against the rapist. What did you expect? That we all together, weak as they are, we're going to go and grab the rapist, and we're going to grab him off and tie him down, and then bring him in front of a court of justice. And he's going to get punishment, he's going to go to prison, maybe his balls will be cut off, whatever. Depending on the... So what do? That's how I would expect unite against. No? But no, they say, we're not going to talk to him. Everybody, turn your back against them. We're not talking to you. Oh, okay, all right, good. Keep quiet, makes me focus on what I'm doing. This is what Pakistan calls for. So, viewed, oh my God, viewed from this perspective, we're not going to talk, we're going to cut ties, and Israel is crying. You think so? No, Pakistan, that's not how it works. First, Pakistan, regarding anything is about Israel, is going to be shutting its mouth. I know, my Pakistani friends will say, no. Unfortunately, from a different angle, Pakistan is owned by American money. And American money come via banks. And not only, they're owned by... All right, my friends. So Pakistan will do nothing. Pakistan will be activated. On the contrary, maybe to strike Iran. Yeah, they're friends. Remember, these guys are Muslims. As in the West, Great Britain is not the representative of the Western civilization, of the West, or the West. Unfortunately, it does so much garbage on this planet that countries from Far East Asia or from South America or wherever they are, they look at Great Britain and say, this is Europe, a European country. They are not representatives of us, of the European civilization. They are a negative in this case. When they stick their tail everywhere else and they start wars and they change regimes and they issue ultimatums and they go and plunder, that's not us. Romania is not like that. Albania is not like that because they can't. But anyway, probably if they could, they would be the same way. Why? We are all human and we act the same way. Give me power and I show you who I really am. That's what it is. Oh, Emil changed, man. Since he's got that position over there, he changed. No, I didn't change. I show you who I really am. Why? Because I don't give a fuck. You can't touch me. I'm gonna... That's how world is. So again, Pakistan will shush, not do anything. It could. Jesus, it could. So, it could, but it won't. Next one. If I do the same, the third time, I'm a baboon again. DPA, Iran, Israeli attack is a declaration of war. All right, here is the guy who says, Iran foreign minister. So, do you think it is? Well, you see, in Ukraine, we have a special military operation or conflict. We don't have a war. When do we have a war? When a conflict turns into a war. When you use all the, branches of the military, when you use a certain kind of number, when you use a certain kind of weapons. When is a war and when is a conflict? Is it the same, how should I put it, situation, but just they used euphemisms? I think so. It's a war. It's a war. What do you mean it's not a war? Those guys, at least they launched on one another more than 200 missiles, 300 missiles, and how many drones? Is that what? A conflict? A little foreplay? Baby doll, let me just... or is just a full-fledged hardcore circumstance? So, that's how the Iranians view it. And here it is. As the consequences of that interpretation of reality, Russia Today, Iran preparing to shut down Israel's war machine. Russia Today source. Tehran has been preparing for a long war long war. Well, that could be cut short. All right, but they're preparing. That's good. Tehran is gearing up to decisively counter Israel's military operations and intends to shut down the regime's war machine. Well, are you going to attack their nuclear arsenal? That's how you shut it down. And even if you do that, the Americans will be all over you. Iranian security official told Russia Today exclusively on Sunday, right? And I'm quoting, Iran has been preparing for a long war, the official told Russia Today, emphasizing the country's resolve to confront Israel. According to the source, millions of Iranians rallied in the street of Saturday, defying West Jerusalem's attack and demanding retribution. This is an important support for Iran to continue its actions with force, the official said. The outlet outlined Iran's extensive list of potential targets within occupied territories. So, what do you want to do? Continue the war, but as I said, that could be stopped short, the long war with nuclear weapons by the Israelis. And I have no doubt that the Israelis will use it whenever they feel necessary. I give you 99.9%. Why? You look at the person's future behavior, judging from the past behavior and attitudes. I mean, look what these guys did to the guys in Gaza. There's a reason why they don't do this to Iran, and it's because Iran could retaliate. Because you can't, no, that's the only reason. The guys in Gaza, nah, look what happened over there. Anyway, look at the pictures. Look at the pictures, don't look, and when you hear 72 people died in Israel, and I want you to look in Gaza. We're talking about tens of thousands. Anyway, let's move on. And this is the last topic, Sputnik. IRGC claim they forced Israeli air defenses to attack each other with new methods. Ooh, let's see. Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed that during the latest wave of missile strikes on Israel, they used new methods to force not to fool, Israeli air defense system to attack each other. During this operation, thanks to the use of new methods and capabilities in intelligence and equipment, the multi-level defense command and control systems of the enemy failed and began to attack each other. This is a quote, this is a claim. But how? No information. So here is, I said I will show you a little map or two. Here is obviously where the garbage occurs, right? This is Israel right here. Let's put it this way. Right there. Okay, so this is Israel, so you can see it right here. This is Iran, obviously, and here is Pakistan. It's a long distance, but nevertheless, from Pakistan to Israel. And the Americans are all over defending the guys. So let's go back to they forced one another. Well, infiltration in the enemy's camp and creating false flag operations and creating problems and interfering with their communication, giving the wrong orders by pretending you are whomever and whatever, even activating guys within the Israeli military is a way of deceiving these guys and getting them to shoot one another. That is, you give false information. Those guys are attacking here, those missiles are coming from there. Now let me tell you about Romania. This is an old way of doing things. You have them fight one another and that's it, and then you come over and them up. So in Romania, during the so-called revolution, it was a revolution, but it was not the way they call it. The masses just rose up and say, we don't like Ceausescu and we're going to go and topple him. Yeah, we didn't like Ceausescu, that's for sure. We didn't like the communist system, that's for sure. But it was not like that. It was activated on the unhappy Romanians, and not only people from Romania, they were very unhappy with the situation. On that foundation, they activated this revolution and they took over and they directed it wherever they want, as if you remember the philosophy or psychology of masses, Gustav, whatever his name is, not only the mass psychology. You go and read that book. I can't remember his last name, Gustav, whatever his name is. Anyway, I read that when I was about 17 or something, and it's a good book. it was all organized by the guys from outside. Again, CIA, KGB at that time, the Hungarians, many of the Bulgarians, they were all ready to go and enter and break Romania. The problem is the Romanian military stayed put. They tried to create all kind of communication. General Militaru somehow was the chief in charge. We had two militaries, two chiefs. One was Gusha and the other one was Militaru. Militaru was the GRU, Soviet, on the Soviet payroll. He was not eliminated by Ceausescu. Ceausescu knew that. It was crazy. If I would have been Ceausescu, Militaru would have been gone. I mean, he was a traitor working for a foreign country. I mean, you just put him on trial, and then they had death penalty at one point, Romania. So pak, bye-bye, never. Many others over there. So nevertheless, these guys enter into communication, and with this guy, they sent, the Otopeni airport, the international airport in Bucharest, a column or whatever, a column of tanks, was coming towards Ploiești, Pitești, whatever, stop it, what are we going to do? So coming to take over the airport. And there was Romanians who were given the same information, some terrorists are took over the Romanian airport. So they were both information that they will both see the other side as the terrorist. So when the Romanian column showed over there, these guys, the Romanian defenders, shot in them, this guy, and they fought one another. Another example was with helicopters, military helicopters. Hey, go to Băneasa, and that's the military airport near Bucharest. Băneasa, go over there, the terrorists took over that. These guys came over towards, and the guys over there were like, hey, the Băneasa airport is under attack by the terrorists, they took over helicopters. So when these guys came over, over them, and Jesus fucking Christ. Hey, and I know that for a fact. I know a pilot who was a major in the he was a captain or a major, I think he was in those times, and nevertheless relative, I know that for a fact. And he said, man, they were shouting at us, and we're like, hey, we are coming here. So they gave the information easy. In this case, there's the guys over there, if you are able to get into their communication system and to fake it in such a way that you are a believable source of information. So it's not impossible. I'm pretty sure the same thing could Israelis do to the Iranians. It's something that's old, it's not new. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.